really wanted to start today by recording the story of what happened to me yesterday using my whiteboard, but I think what I'm going to do instead is actually go to the store and buy another whiteboard marker and eraser set because I only have that green one left. I really like whiteboarding and I just feel like doing that. So I think I'm going to do that, maybe grab a cup of coffee, and then I will record the story of what happened to me yesterday. Because my brother's out of town, each morning while he's gone I have to get up a little earlier to feed the dogs, to let them out. And so it changes my routine a little bit. I think what I'm going to do instead is take the dogs out for a pretty long play session. Then I'm going to go to the store and buy a new whiteboard marker and eraser set. And then I'm going to tell the story of what happened to me yesterday using the whiteboard and the new markers. Really wanted to try like one of those like really scenic looking time lapses with just clouds, but there's legitimately not a cloud in the sky right now. So much for that idea. Well, I think it means the dogs are tired when you've got one here, one over there waiting to go inside, and one chilling out in the shade. So the dogs just ran for a bit. They're tired, they're panting, they're gonna relax and cool off in the house. I am now headed to the store and to get myself some coffee. And you may have noticed, this isn't my car. Well, you probably didn't notice, but now you might notice. But this is a different car than you saw me in last time. And there's a reason for that. I couldn't drive my car home. More on that in a second. Walking into the store now. When did they get so many markers? So I think the whiteboard I have is magnetic, which means I could stick these to the whiteboard, which should be good. I'm also going to get this eraser, because that I know I lost. Only cost me about 10 bucks, so overall not too bad, can't really complain, definitely within budget. So here's the eraser that I bought. That was pretty uneventful. So these have like a magnetic strip on the side, and I'm pretty sure my whiteboard's magnetic. So hopefully I won't lose markers again. Little magnetic strip. Let's test it out. Well, the eraser erases, but not really well. So I get for spending $2 on an eraser. Magnet test. The story I'm about to tell you actually happened. I will try my best to not exaggerate at all. It's a pretty crazy day. Not very artistic, so stick with me here. This was Interstate 95 South. This is my car. I'm heading this direction in the left lane, going about 80 miles an hour, maintaining the flow of traffic. I hear a loud noise, and I lose pressure in my right rear tire. Car immediately starts to handle very strange. There was a car that was like back here, and I don't know if he saw it, but he immediately moved over. There was a car in front of me. Long story short, I was able to move my car over to the shoulder, safely parked in the shoulder. Up that way is where traffic is flowing. You know what? Let me use this eraser. So now this is the interstate. Traffic is flowing from this side to this side. My car is on the shoulder. Okay? Not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed by my drawing ability here. This is the front, and this is the rear. This is the bad tire. Bad tire. Pull over to the side of the road. I get the jack out. I insert the jack right here, there's a little piece under the car, and the way the jack works, it's actually on an angle. So it's, picture an angle like this. You put the jack down, and then the thing comes up and lifts the car that way. It's a very, very flimsy piece of shit jack, but it's what comes with the spare tire in the car. So I put the jack here, jack the car up, unscrew the tire, get the blown tire off. Then realize there's a fire ant mound basically right here. So this is all on the side of 95 with cars whizzing past at 80 miles an hour. This is all grass. I don't think I got my money's worth with this green marker. That's awful. Here's grass, fire ant mound. So, this is me. I almost step on that fire ant mound. And I avoid it, but in the process, let me back up. So now I have the blown tire off. There's no more tire here. Wheel the tire off to the side. Now still the front tire. As I go towards the back of the car, I almost step in this fire ant mound. And attempting to avoid it, I hit the thing you crank on the jack to raise the jack and knock the jack over. And so my car, which was probably jacked in the air this much, no longer has a back tire, comes crashing to the ground. And now, from about here downward, my car is essentially sitting on the ground. The rotor is literally touching the ground. Now that sucks, and it could cause a lot of damage to the rotor. It's very bad for the car. The bigger problem is I can no longer fit the jack here. Because this is on the ground, I can't wedge the jack in. Right? Like if it was this, and I could put the jack in on an angle here and jack that up, fine. I can't because it is now touching the ground. I didn't step in the fire ant mound, but I am standing outside in 85-degree weather, sweating my balls off, covered in grease, which is fine. Feel like a man. But I can no longer jack up the car. So, one of the times in life where you are happy to see the South Carolina State Highway Patrol. She pulls up in her car behind me. I'm not going to draw the whole car because I don't know how to draw. And she has a jack that I can use if I can fit it underneath. So what I end up doing, so I jack up the front of my car, which gives me maybe this much room in the back of the car to slide her jack in. And her jack is like, I think they call it a scissor jack, where it's flat and then it opens up like this. I get it, finally get it in. Let's not forget this huge fire ant mound that she almost stepped in twice. Get the car up, get the spare tire on, and eventually get back on the road. So quick recap. Car in this lane. 80 miles an hour this way. Tire blows out. Car goes a little weird. Get the car over to the shoulder. Jack the car up. Almost step in gigantic fire ant mound. Knock the jack over. Drop the vehicle flat onto the ground. Highway patrolman pulls up. I use my jack, which I was able to wiggle out from the bottom of the car, to jack up the front of my car, to give enough room to jack up the back of the car using the jack from the highway patrol officer. Get the spare on, have her follow me for a little bit to make sure everything is good, get to my parents' house. Now you think that's where the story would end. Get the spare tire on, get to my parents, no big deal. Except, I have to find that tire size, which is not a readily available tire size, which I wasn't able to do. I had to leave the car at my parents' house and drive my brother's car home because I had dogs here, otherwise I would have stayed down there. The cost of the repairs is pretty expensive, in the thousands, which sucks. But I lived. When you change a tire and you have to literally avoid a fire ant mound and you're like laying there trying not to touch the fire ant mound, and the grass was probably a little shorter than knee high. It was pretty tall. You're sweating, you feel like super masculine, you're covered in grease and you're changing your tire, and then you drop your car on the ground. It sucks bad. I knew immediately it was going to cost me a lot of money. I was super pissed off. Thankfully the state patrol officer came by. The fact that she had the jack was pretty much all I needed. I got to my parents' house. Because it's a 2-hour drive, I only had a handful of hours that I could be spending with them before I had to get back to the dogs, and I ended up losing most of that. So I got there a little after 4:30, and then I ended up leaving around 7:30. So I didn't get to spend as much time with my mom, my dad, my brothers, sister-in-law, and my nephew as I wanted to. But that's why I was so drained yesterday. That's why I was so exhausted. And I'll tell you what, nothing gets your blood pumping quite like blowing a tire at 80 miles an hour on a major interstate. So thankfully I'm safe. The car will get repaired. It's just going to cost me a lot of money that I really don't want to be spending right now. Sometimes that's life. And that's the story. It has been a productive and expensive day. So almost 7 o'clock, so the dogs are out. Get one last run in, then bring them in, let them eat, have some dinner. I'm approaching the end of my to-do list, which is good, but also bad, because then it means that I'll be in search of things to do and stuff to get done and all that kind of thing. Feeling the need to hustle. Don't know what to hustle on. You know the dogs are tired when this is what it sounds like. Finished up a little bit early tonight. Played 2.5 hours of Overwatch. I'm gonna let the dogs out one last time and I'm probably gonna get to bed.